So what's he up to now? I'll show you what he's up to now. What he's up to now, that piece of software you just saw captures whatever's on my screen and uses the microphone as well. So it allows me to film stuff on the computer without using the camera, basically, which makes it a lot clearer. These are my Orchid Notes. Now I'm going to kill several birds with one stone here. Several people have asked what notes I keep. This is the bottom of my notes. So these are general things. This is where I record at set level. Let me just make this an awful lot bigger so you can see what's going on here. Bigger, not smaller. Duh. Something like that. Whoops. So I'm not concentrating. I haven't got a coffee, that's what's wrong. Right, so these are my sets. Mounts, normal pots, cooler, shadier pots, holy clay pots, you get the idea. And under here I record the things that I've done as far as watering is concerned and what was used. So it's the 20th today. You can see that my mount's got a flush and the TDS of the water was 35 parts per million. My holy clay pots, which is mainly cat types but not exclusively, they got watered. The water was at 30 parts per million. I used K-Lite up to 135 parts per million and topped it up with MSU to 240 with a pH of 6.3. Now that's going to go against the grain with a lot of people because that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm supposed to be using K-Lite and the instructions that go with it, which means it should be fed at around a pH of 6.8, 6.9. So why am I deviating? I don't do it every time. I do it every second or third time. The reason is I don't trust the logic. I'm okay with the K-Lite in principle, but the fact that the P and the K values have gone down to 1 against the nitrogen, I feel is a little harsh. So by adding the MSU in, I'm topping those two levels up, along with other things. So the mix is a bit higgledy-piggledy. Also, this business of the pH at 5.8. I have an element of trust that the work that's been done does signify that, the orchids absorb at that level. But there is a wealth of information around that says that things like calcium are not absorbed very well at those low levels. And if those are being excluded due to the pH, I've got a problem, which is why every now and again I override the K-Lite principles and effectively do my own thing. So that's why that's getting used like that. I've got a couple of other headings down here, treatments and feeds. I just put a date in and, what I'm up to. Anyway, that's the bottom of my notes. Let's go up to the top of my notes now. Sorry, that's going a bit fast, but it needs to. Now, what I plan on doing today is, first of all, we'll look at my notes, then I'll go over the reason why I've opened them in the first place. I've got my genus over here, and then I've got the variety or the species name here, and then I've got the information about the last blooming, and that will have, when it's in bloom, it's in a bright colour so as I can see it, and the date that it came into bloom. And if it's still in bloom, the date when it ended obviously hasn't been completed yet. So that's what I do in that column. I'll also mark if something's in bud. So that's that column. The next column across is acquired and source. So that's the date that I got it and where I got it from. So that's simple enough information. And sometimes that information is unknown. So be it. I've got my repotted date. I use colour coding there. If it's in black, it's in a pot. If it's in that orangey colour, it's a mount. And if it's in blue, or greeny blue, it's a holy clay pot. So that allows me to find things quickly after I've watered to update the next column, which is what's just happened as far as watering is concerned. And as you can see, if you come down There's an orange one there. That's obviously a mount, and it was flushed today, as we discussed. And then I've got my notes on the far end, which used to be quite elaborate, and nowadays the only thing that goes in that is information about the last repot. So like you can see here, it was removed from a mount and potted in a bark, growstones, charcoal mix with some chopped live moss near the top of the pot. Signs of fusarium, so treated with systemic fungicide. Some of them are a lot simple, mounted on bark. So that's the columns I keep and the sort of information I keep in there. Right, now why are we here today? Why we are here today is to colour code what plants are going to go to other people and why, and the plants that I'm probably going to dump unless somebody really wants to take a chance and take them. Now, as far as plants going to other people is concerned, I'll make this clear. Somebody called Sean gets first shout. Firstly, because he asked first, and secondly, because I can deliver the plants to him on the way to Burnham's. So no postage, no risking cold packages and damaging the post and me having to package them up. I can just put them in a box, put them in the back of the car and meet up with Sean and hand them over. Person number 2 is Carol. And again, it's because she not only asked, she basically said that being in the UK, plants are getting very, very difficult to get hold of, and where Carol lives I would say virtually impossible. So she gets second shout. There may not be any more shouts. It might be as simple as that. What doesn't go to those 2 people gets dumped, because I'm not going to the trouble of recording everybody's names and what they want, trying to get their addresses and stuff. I'm not doing it. It's too much hassle. I'm trying to de-hassle life Right, so that's what we're up to. So coming down here, we've got my 2 brassicas. Both of those are growing well, strong new growths pushing out roots. They get to stay. The Bratonia can go. Now what I'm going to do is a plant that's okay to go to somebody else, we will colour code as green. So we'll give it a green light. Yeah? Right, now I can grab hold of that and just paste next time round. My bulbophyllum, I don't want anymore. Gone. That Arachilium, probably Prosthetia, don't want it. My Makei I will keep. Now we've got, in amongst the Cattleyas, we've got a problem. There are quite a few with no tag, and a fair few of those are actually going to be thrown away. So I won't worry too much about the Cattleya set because I can't. My Chantilly lace is actually in bloom. It's recovering. It'll be okay. The Encyclia lancifolia, I'll keep that. I was going to let that go. What else have we got here that we can think about? Most of these, a lot of these have just not got labels, so it's difficult to know what to do with them. If I can identify that, that's going. Blooms weren't nice enough for me to warrant. If I can identify that, that's going. Francis Fox. Most of the others haven't got labels on, so it'll be difficult to identify them to get rid of them. That is in fact now in bloom, and I don't want it. Having waited all that time to get that to bloom, I don't actually particularly like the blooms. They're less than a centimetre across. I've only got 1 or 2 open this morning, so I don't know. Now, my recent acquisition, Coleogyne nitida, I'm keeping that. My 3 cymbidiums stay. Now, coming down the dendrobiums, delicatum is a pretty reasonably healthy plant, although not large yet. I can't give it the conditions to get it to bloom. That can go. Most of what else is here can stay. Comet King can go. It's a nobly type. It's on a mount. Black hair types, the 3 that I've got left I'm keeping. Coming down here, the Latoria types that I've got I'm keeping. Phalaenopsis types, that goes if I can find it, that goes, and that goes. So that's most of them, apart from the really giant one that I got from Jeff's collection that's growing really strong and really well. So we'll hang on to that. So my Phalaenopsis types are going to go. My black hair types that are warm growers under normal conditions, the few that I've got left seem to be doing okay with the temperatures I've got. Same with the Latoria types. These few that I've got here seem to be doing okay. Hanging in there, as they say. Right, coming down here, quite a few of these are relatively recent acquisitions. So, you'll be pleased to hear Kaneko, having taken it off the mount, put it in a pot, has got little green things poking out of the canes. Moniliform can go. That's not a bad plant, that one. That's it for them. Now, coming down here, this is a bit brutal. My Dracula Bella, I'm going to hang on to and try and get it to grow. No. The 3 hybrids. No. Even though one's a project plant, tough. Inca Prince, I'm going to hang on to it. Coming down my Restrepias, where are my 2 large ones? The Antennifera, that just doesn't bloom well for me. That's going to go. That's one of my big ones. That's a big Restrepia. Hannah's ones I'm keeping. The rest I'll keep. Falkenbergii is the other big one that I've had for years. Got in 2014, it says here. It blooms quite regularly, even though they're small. So we'll hang on to those. Miltonias. That's going to go. My 3 big ones, the Reginellii, Spectabilis and Morelliana, they're staying. Summer Glory's going to stay. That's now growing well. So is Sunset. That's going, if I can find it. Miltoniopsis, no comments on these. This Morgant is probably going to go in the bin. This hybrid is a strong plant. The Red Night Grail is a recent one and is a strong plant. Venus is a strong plant. And the other 2, I'm desperately trying to recover and am willing to do so. Coming down the Oncidiums. This flipping Aliciara, I've been trying to rescue that for years, but it's finally looking reasonable. So I'm going to give it a chance. Tahitian Dancer seems to be growing okay. This one, the Bialara, that's recently bloomed. It had a huge long spike. It was up on the right-hand high shelf and was in bloom a nice long time. In fact, there's the dates there. Came into bloom on the 26th of the 7th, and I took the spike off on the 6th of the 10th. That's good value in my book. Nellie Isla, it's either going to somebody else or in the bin, one or the other. I'm not keeping that. That will not grow. Cambria, mostly purple, large. It's not doing very well, but it's got such good blooms, I'm going to give it a go. Hamiltonaria won't grow for me. Somebody else can have it. Now, coming down here, these 3 Odontoglossum types that it says here, including one that's probably Wilsonara tiger tail, all 3 of those have got spikes. They're doing better. The 2 Oncidium species, they're sort of okay. The honeybee was the one that I got last time I went to Burnham's, Dancing Lady type. I split it in 2. Don't need both. Right, that's Ornithorhynchum. I cannot say that word. I got a real block on that one. That was in amongst the mounted twinkles and is now in a pot and is being given a chance. I've got 2 Shari babies, both with spikes on. One spike is, I would say, not far short of 1 metre long. It's not the best plant. The other one is the best plant. So the one with the huge spike can go. but it can't go to you, Carol, because I'm not packing that unless you're prepared for me to cut the spike off. So that's on offer for Sean and no one else. I'm not trying to pack a spike that big. My Sotoanum is going to go because in amongst Derek's plants is a much better one. My Sweet Sugar is going to go. Effectively, the Sweet Sugar and the one right at the top, the Shelob Tolkien, both of those were on mounts for a long time and went downhill badly. They got taken off mounts and put in pots, but they haven't had time to recover really, and I can't be bothered. All the Twinkles have come off of mounts and gone in pots. They get given a chance. I've got 2 Rawdon Jesters. One of those can go. Right, now coming down in Derek's plants, the I've now decided that I'm not a member of Bournemouth Orchid Society anymore. Derek died a long time ago, and I felt at the time an obligation to take and look after some of his plants, some of which are quite rare. My obligation, I believe, is now gone. I don't need to feel that way about these plants. I need to sort out what I want, keep those, and look after them. That Coleogeny is going to go. The rest of them, I will have to look at the individual plants, quite a few of which have not got labels on them. If I can identify them, there'll be some of those to go. There is, I believe, a Sherry Baby in there, but there's so many without labels, I just don't know. All of my Tolumnias, every single one that's left goes. And I think there's now 4 or 5. Another one went out this morning as I was watering. They're just going downhill. If somebody else doesn't have them, then they'll just go in the bin because they're not doing well at all. Paphiopedilum new, I'm keeping that. There's 2 Phalaenopsis that they were both in the same pot. One of those can go. And my mounted Phalaenopsis can go. That leaves the ones on the kitchen windowsill minus one quite large one. So that's that lot. My Vanda types, my Aerangis fastuosa can go. It's not going to be happy without its warmth. The other Aerangis I will keep. My Renantheras I'm going to give another year because since they went in their baskets they're growing better. My 2 Vandas I'm keeping. Then we get down here. The Vasa Vixella was given to me to try and grow and get a seed pod. It doesn't grow well for me. It's never bloomed. My Pabstia was a challenge plant. It still is. And we'll give it some time. Now, in amongst my Zygopetalums, one of them at least was split and is in a state of recovery. Those pieces will probably go in the bin because they're just not working. So the ones I've got left are, to stay. So that was the idea of today, was to mark the ones that are worth somebody else having a go at, even though they may not be brilliant plants. They're not rubbish plants. And we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, can't count, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. I'll count those as 2 or 3, so say 32, because some of those will go in the bin, the Tolumnias. 32, 33, 34, 35, 36 plants. That's 36 plants to go. Yep, and as I said, Sean gets first shout. Can pause this video and take a note of the names, and at some point I will try and film them. But it's not that easy because some of them I don't know where they are. They could be on one of 2 or 3 shelves. So that's what that video was all about. It was a look at my notes and also go through and preempt a good few of the plants to go. There are more than that, but that's out of the ones that are named that I'm reasonably certain about. There are others that as soon as I pick, excuse me, as soon as I pick the pot up, they will just go in the bin because they're not good enough and probably don't have a tag. So there we go. We've started the process. 30 odd plus plants, plus the rubbish ones with no tags. I suspect it'll be about 40 plants. A fair few of those are small pots, unfortunately, but some of them are larger pots and will free up some shelf space. Certainly like the Rossio Glossum, the Shari Baby. There's some larger plants there, larger pots that will free up some shelf space and some mounts. So there we go. That's a precise video or a concise video about what we're up to. Just put my notes back to where they live. Whoops. It's funny actually the way that looks about right. Something like that. Now it looks really small, doesn't it? But it's plenty big enough for me to read on the screen. There's nothing else I really need to say about my notes. It's reasonably obvious what I do. I keep a history of bloomings, but I only keep a couple. I don't go back years and years and years. I keep 2. 3 if it's currently in bud or in bloom. Otherwise, it's just 2. And I use bright colours to identify those that have got something going on. Those that have finished blooming just get greyed out so that they don't stand out. So, colour coding on here, where there's that orangey colour, where it's actually filled in like that is something that needs a repot, but it's not desperate. And then occasionally there's some red in here, which means it needs a repot and it needs getting on with. So there isn't too much of that. There are some red ones there, and it's because they're unknown under normal circumstances. So I didn't repot them last time round. There's an urgent one, but that's one of the ones to go. So that's somebody else's problem now. You see what I'm getting at? So that's my notes basically, and simply see you next time. Thanks for dropping by.